I'm going to show you some paper from the US and from Mexico. These are some nicer papers from the US. This is a Brookfield line. It's a design line by Elizabeth Hyder, and it was letterpress printed by Daryl Hyder. They have several different designs in this line, and it makes beautiful books. It's really pretty on books. This is paste paper, and I wish I knew who did it. It's beautiful. It's metallic. You can kind of see the lines in there. Paste paper is made with some type of paste. Usually it's like wheat paste or rice paste. Mixing it with different dyes, and you can dye the paper. This was just a white paper, but it creates really pretty, vibrant colors on there. This is paper from the US, and it is commercial made. So these are machine made papers, and they are very, very different than Italian papers or Japanese papers. They feel different. They feel glossy, they feel kind of light, and they just don't have that luscious, like you don't want to fill them. They're just kind of, they don't really feel very nice. But they have amazing prints. So the prints are really fun. They have tons of different prints that you can get. Here's one. This is super glossy. You can kind of see this one maybe. Can you see that glossiness? You can kind of see this. It's just been in the drawer or passed around from my classes and my portfolio papers, and it's chipped off a little bit on the ink and rubbed off a little bit. It's just not as durable as some of the other printed papers are. But they do come in really fun prints. Look at those owls. And here's a really fun one. The speech bubbles. This is super fun on books. So they do come in really fun prints. This one's a commercially made paper from Mexico. And it's fairly thin, but it looks really nice on books, and it's been pretty fun. It's not a very highly durable paper, but it is fun. This is actually paper that's handmade in Mexico, and it's been handmade for hundreds of years by the I don't even know how to say it, but Amati Indians. It's a tradition that's still going today. This is very different. It's very delicate to work with, actually, compared to something like Locta. Locta is really strong. And when I started working with this, I noticed it kind of cracks. So when you're working with it, you have to be very careful when you're folding it over things and molding it and stuff. So it's one of those papers that I might recommend actually getting a little bit damp in order to fold it and pressing it to keep its shape. You can see both sides. They're very, very different. It's very vibrant. There's a kind of a marbled look to it because of the pulps in there. And the other side's really light. This is also a Amati art paper. This side is very rough. You can kind of see the little fibers in there. And it's woven. This side is a little bit smoother. So it feels pretty smooth on this side. Depending on the look that you want and what you want for your book, you can use either side. This side feels nicer to touch though. This is the woven on a book. So it has Locta underneath, it has an eggplant Locta, and then it has the Amati bark over the top of it. And then this paper is handmade in the US, and it was made by the Paper Studio in Arizona. And it is not acid-free, but it is made 100% from recycled cardboard boxes. They actually come in different colors. They'll do several different sets. I think I've seen green, and I think I remember some kind of reddish one. Maybe it was pink or purpley or something. And this one's the blue. And it's pretty heavy. It's like cardstock. So it might work well for something that's a book cover where you just need the folded paper instead of wrapping it around the bookboard. This one is from Budapest. It's a commercial made paper. When this goes onto a book, it just looks ancient. It looks old, and the shininess on it actually looks kind of like it's just oils from hands over time, over years. It just looks really old and really neat on books. So it is a commercial made paper, but it looks really nice. It bubbles really easily, so if you're going to use this one, make sure that you take care to use your bone folder on it. It will mark up really easily, so put a piece of paper over the top of it when you use your bone folder across it. And it does get lots of air bubbles, so watch that when you're gluing it down. This is papyrus and banana leaf paper, and they're used a little bit differently in book arts. If you fold this, it'll actually crack It just kind of cracks, if you can hear that. It's stiff. It might tear easily. It's kind of rigid and a little bit fragile. The best way to use this is to get it a little bit wet, even just with wheat paste if you're gluing it down or something, or if you're just using it to fold as pages or something, you might want to get them wet and then fold them and then let them press under something. Kind of put like wax paper in between or something and just make sure that they're pressed well so that they can stay once they're dry. Let them dry out that way. Now that's the best way to get it to mold in the way that you want it to work. You can kind of see the edges, or you can kind of see how they've woven it and put it into layers. And then the back side here, this has a feel where they're all going this way. The green looks like it's going this way, and when you flip it over, it actually has more of a strong presence this way on this side. So it kind of has a horizontal and a vertical side. This is paper that's not really meant to be folded. You could try using it in the same way as the papyrus, where you get it wet and fold it, but it will most likely just bend or break. It won't really bend, it'll just kind of, you can kind of see right there where it comes, the fibers are coming apart and everything. It's just very fragile paper. This is banana leaf that's been cut to look like planks, so it kind of looks like a wood floor almost. You can see on the back there's a cheesecloth or a mull or type of fabric that's woven on the back. Here they've glued the banana leaf planks to it to kind of help keep it together. So that's what the back side looks like. It is really, really pretty. That's not really meant to be folded, so if you're going to use it, I would suggest using it just as like your end sheet papers on the inside of a book, or in some way where you don't need to fold it. Even just cutting it out and setting it or gluing it to the top of a cover would be kind of neat too. But I just don't recommend folding it around, trying to fold it around bookboard and things like that. Be done.